What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode here, the Side Guys Football Forum. I'm one of your co-hosts over the side, joined as always by my good friend, my good buddy, the other half that's the guys, Mr. Tad the Side. And Tad, opening weekend for the MLB season has come upon us. So, I mean, yeah, it's been nice to see some MLB action. What do you think about these torpedo bats that the New York Yankees are using? Like, are you a fan of it? Do you think it should be banned? It's like same thing where it's like, the Dodgers signed everybody under the sun and people are like, should they install a salary cap? So are you just like, what are your thoughts on either of those subjects?
It's not the same thing because the Dodgers are just playing baseball like how I play the show, where it's just turn off the salary cap and then just sign everybody. I have Jake Berger and Vladimir Guerrero both on the Cardinals currently.
Yeah.
It makes zero sense.
It does.
But that's what the Dodgers are doing. No, this torpedo bat is innovation. And if there's one word that baseball hates the most, it's innovation.
That is very true.
Fuck all this like ban the torpedo bat talk. Bring more torpedo bats. I want all 30 teams to have torpedo bats by Monday. Make it happen, Manfred. Is he still the commissioner?
He is still the commissioner. But yeah, no, actually, with the success that the Yankees had in their opening series against the Milwaukee Brewers, yeah, I think I was watching the the Braves and the Padres broadcast right now on ESPN. And yeah, apparently the Braves have already made an order for some of these torpedo bats. So yeah, I'm pretty sure if they see success, that it's like other teams are going to do this. So I don't doubt that we'll see a lot more torpedo bats across the entire league. And yeah, based on this, it's like they've been doing research for it for a couple of years now. And so yeah, it's not against any sort of MLB rules as far as like you can't do this sort of thing. So the MLB is not going to step in at least right now. So it's like, yeah, this thing could be here at least for this season. We'll see what happens in future seasons.
It's going to be really cool for a year and it's going to get banned so fast next winter.
We'll see exactly how this happens. But yeah, we're seeing success with that right now. So yeah, we'll see how this all pans out as the year goes along. And if, more teams decide to implement the same thing there. But Tad, with all the fun that's going on with the opening of the MLB season, that should not deter people from realizing that we're that much closer to the NFL draft at the end of April. Like, I mean, Tad, we're close there. Like, we're almost in April. We're only like a couple days away from there. But just, we're close to draft month. It's just like, this is where, you brought this up on a podcast episode before, where it's just like, you're going to start hearing some storylines and some rumors about like, I'm seeing a lot of like, Titans are narrowing in on their pick at number 1 overall, but it's like we may still see a trade. We don't know about that. As far as like, the Browns apparently have rumored interest in possibly trading for Dak Prescott. So it's like that's circulating right now too. So it's like, who knows what's real right now, what's not real. But I think the biggest thing that we could definitely say is real is the draft hype is definitely increasing as we get to draft month here. So Tad, one of the things that we want to do that we've been teasing for a lot of episodes now is that we wanted to play the GM for a lot of teams as far as what maybe is one course of action that a team can take to sort of improve their team within the first couple of rounds. So working for LAFB Network, we figure maybe let's start with the both LA teams here as far as one direction that either of these teams can go in as far as their first 3 picks, as far as the first 3 rounds, depending on the team. They may have multiple picks in those first 3 rounds, but we want to start with the Chargers and we want to start with the Rams first, being from LAFB Network. So yeah, we're really going to play the GM. We're going to give you guys all the picks in the first 3 rounds. This is one idea, obviously with all the mock drafts that are out there. And like, once you even get to the very final stages before the draft, you can mock draft all you want, but once the actual draft happens, you don't know where players are going to slot in. We had that historic run last year, Tad, where it's like, we didn't have a defensive player taken until the Colts took Latu all the way there at number 15.
I just call him Latu.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, yeah, we may see something like that happen this year too, but just like, this is just based on analysis, based on team needs, based on what me and Tad have done some research as far as where players may slide in, as far as overall rankings, as well as position rankings. Maybe this is how things may play out for these two teams as far as one scenario with these mock drafts. So Tad, We're doing the Rams and the Chargers. You took the Rams. I took the Chargers.
No. Objection. I was going to say Your Honor, but fuck you. Objection. You gave me the Rams. I did not select the Rams.
That is true. I'm not denying the fact. Yeah, I gave you the Rams.
You better not.
You also could have countered and be like, no, I'm taking the Chargers. Because you also said, that's like, which of the team do you want? You're like, I don't care. And so it's like,
gave me the Rams. I want to be like that guy. So it's just like,
I'm taking the Rams too. But yeah, I did put the Rams on you because you didn't make a choice. So yeah, you're stuck with what you had to take then there. So, but let's kick things off with the Rams first, Ted. Then we'll get to the Chargers here. But yeah, what do you think is one scenario here as far as all their picks in the first 3 rounds, as far as the direction that they may go?
I'm so glad you said the one scenario, which by the way, it's scenario, not scenario.
Yeah, I like to mix it up. Tomato.
Showing off your bona fides there.
There you go.
But because this was actually, of all 3 picks that I was responsible for with the Rams, this was the hardest one because they could go like 5 different directions and it would all make sense. I see a very common mock right now is Jaxson Dart to the Rams.
Interesting.
Which would make a lot of sense. I'm not quite sure if they're willing to spend a first round pick on a quarterback. What my prediction is actually, and this is not my official prediction for the show, but my prediction for what they're actually going to do is I'm thinking if you look at what Les Snead has been doing the past couple of years, it's almost the opposite of what he started doing when they moved to LA, where instead of selling off draft picks, he's been trading away draft picks and collecting a lot of mid-round picks. And the Rams, as of now, do not have a second-round pick. So I think that this is the area, and you always see this in the late 20s. This is the area where someone's slipping and a team trades up to go get him. And I think the Rams will be a pretty likely partner for one of those teams to try and, try to, acquire a second-round pick either this year or next year. So my guess is actually the Rams are going to trade out of this spot. Because, they're in the good position where they don't need to improve. They just need to upgrade, if that makes sense.
So remind us again, where are they picking in the first round?
So they're picking at 26.
Okay.
So I don't think they're going to trade. I don't think they're going to take a quarterback. I've seen a lot of mocks as well with them taking a tight end, either Colston Loveland or one that I saw Tyler Warren, where I was like, okay. But both of those guys are very far gone by the time the Rams are on the board. So if both those tight ends are off the board, they're not going to trade out. They're not going to take a quarterback. I think they're going to take Azaria Thomas, the cornerback out of Florida State. The more I watch this guy, the more I like him. He is 6'2", 197. So he's a very big corner. But he has really good speed for his position. And also, you look at his stats, he had 19 pass breakups in 3 years at Florida State. This dude has a nose for the ball. He's a really physical receiver, excellent at press coverage. And look, before you get on me, I am not saying he is going to be as good as this guy. I'm just saying, okay, let's see. A big physical corner on the Rams secondary. Who am I about to compare him to? He's no longer with the Rams secondary. I should clarify that.
Jalen Ramsey?
Yes, I think he can be
the Florida State connection too. Yeah, of course.
Oh, yeah, dude. How about that? Nice. So I think he can be that type of corner for this defense, and a young defense, by the way, with Brandon Fisk and this is so bad that I'm blanking on this. Their first round pick, defensive rookie of the year. Why am I blanking?
Jared Verse.
Jared Verse. God damn it! Hey, Florida State. Look, it's already there. Yeah. Just to prove to people that I actually know who Jared Verse is. But the funny thing is, I was kind of looking at why would the Rams take a corner? I'll tell you why. Is because the Rams allowed. Let me find it real quick. 29 passing touchdowns and 7.6 passing yards per attempt last season. Those are both tied for 5th worst.
Oh yeah, that's not good to be bottom 5.
Yeah. So that secondary needs some help. And on top of all of this is, like I said, with the young secondary, you need kind of think of it like the emergence of Legion of Boom, right? Like you had the Bobby Wagner, you had the Richard Sherman. You got to find that leader. Well, it just so happens that Thomas won the Bobby Bowden Leadership Award for Florida State this past year. So not only are you getting a good, big physical corner, you're getting a good leader. And I know what a lot of Rams fans are saying is 26, what difference is that? Great. We got a corner at 26. What difference does that make? Do you know who was drafted 26 overall last year?
I do not remember right now.
So I really wanted to say Quinyon Mitchell because that's what I thought it was while I was doing the notes. And then I looked it up. He was drafted 22nd. So I was like, damn it. But anyway, game-changing corners can fall to this.
Oh, no, of course they can.
Also a good note, though, is who actually was drafted at 26 overall last year was Graham Barton by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And he was phenomenal for them. So, like, you can find a difference maker at 26. And I think that Zaria Thomas out of Florida State, that is the perfect, next building block on this Rams defense. And they're going to be so good for so long.
Yeah, they got to the divisional round, unfortunately lost in the snow to the eventual Super Bowl winners, the Philadelphia Eagles. So yeah, they definitely have that building block where it's like they can make that next step as long as they can shore up some of those positions here in the draft. So you mentioned already that they got the first round pick there. They traded their second round pick to Carolina, if I remember correctly.
Yes.
So now they're picking again in the third round. So where are they in the third round now?
So that for people who were like, wait, what did we give Carolina? That was to trade up for Brandon Fisk in last year's second round.
Yes.
Yeah, it paid off. Good trade. All
did.
Right, so they have 2 third-round picks at number 90 and number 101. I'm a big fan of both these picks, and I think you're going to really like at number 90.
Okay.
At number 90, that's Los Angeles Rams. I almost said St. Louis Rams. The Los Angeles Rams.
This is part of the reason why I gave you the Rams.
That was like a gut reaction, man. The Los Angeles Rams select Kyle McCord, the quarterback out of Syracuse.
Why would I like this? I love Kyle McCord, but I would not want him down the Rams, though.
Oh, that's true. I forgot you're also in the NFC West. But I think that this is where the Rams thrive, right? Like, yes, you need to find a successor for Matthew Stafford. I think that whole weird thing earlier this spring where it was like, oh, no, you go look for a trade. Yeah. And Stafford was like, okay. Like, it didn't seem, antagonistic from either side, but it was still very weird that both sides were like, trade. Okay, cool. So I think both sides kind of realized we're heading into a somewhat of a last dance situation with Stafford. I would be shocked if he played past this year, at least for the Rams. So I think they know they need to find a successor. You look at what McCord has done in his college career. This is why I think the Rams are a very interesting fit for him. McCord was good, not great at Ohio State. Then he goes to Syracuse in a new system under a new coaching staff, and he explodes and is arguably one of the best quarterbacks in college football this past season. And by the way, if you want to know where McCord ranks in me and Amir's top 5 quarterbacks, check it out on Twitter, check it out on Instagram. Our quarterback rankings are live, top 10 quarterbacks in this year's draft. Anyway,
the answer may surprise you.
Yeah, McCord's higher than you guys think. We are both big fans. So he is proof that, and I think this is a big, should I tell the story? Yeah, I'll tell the story. Okay. So I have a friend who was familiar or knew a coach with the then Washington racial slurs. And apparently they told RG3 during a practice in his rookie year, you got to stop going for the deep shot. And the very next play, he went for the deep shot and then just stared down his coaches. And that was the moment Washington was like, oh, no. So finding the quarterback that's willing to be coached, the whole point of that story, is tough. Yeah. McCord just proved that he's willing to be coached because he totally changed his game for Syracuse and it paid off. He set the ACC record for most passing yards in a season. So he is really good. I know what people are going to say. I love this because despite his 37 total touchdowns, they're going to go, well, what about that Pitt game? Yes, that Pitt game
was an anomaly.
That was bad. Oh, I will show you what an anomaly it was. So for those of you who don't know, he threw 5 picks in one game against Pitt.
He did.
Which is not a bad defense, but definitely not that good. After that game, do you want to guess how many picks he threw?
I want to say 0.
Zip. Zilch. Nada. Nunca. I don't know what nunca is, but hopefully that's some language. He threw 0 picks. So he's very careful with the ball. He's willing to be coached up. I think if he is forced to be a starter this year, I don't think he's going to be good. But if he has time to adjust the NFL, I think he has the potential to be great, to be the next Russell Wilson, like a mid-round pick that really explodes. It's a match made in heaven with the Rams getting their successor, and he's not good enough to really make Matt Stafford pissed off. If Matt Stafford has a bad game, throw 3 picks, you're not going to hear McCord chants in LA.
No.
So that's a whole. It's the perfect combo. So I think the Rams with the 90th overall pick should take Kyle McCord.
Yeah, I mean, Ted, you know my love affair with Kyle McCord. I was praising his work ethic and just, everything that he was doing all season long. That was pretty much one of the consistent texts that you got from me every college football weekend. I was like, did you see Kyle McCord? Did you see Kyle McCord? So, yeah, believe me, I love the guy. And yeah, him landing in Los Angeles with the Rams specifically, you get a good tutor with Matthew Stafford there. And just, yeah, he's got a chance to groom there and become an eventual successor for him after this year or maybe after 2 seasons. We don't know what it is. But yeah, he led the nation in passing yards last year. He led the nation in passing attempts as well. So, I mean, this guy definitely has the credibility to be that leader for a offense in a few seasons. So, yeah. I love about Kyle McCord. I would hate it though if he did land with the Rams though.
Yeah, that both of us would just be like, damn it. I mean, good for him, but damn it.
Exactly.
All right. My third one might be my hottest take.
Okay, let's hear it.
I think with the 3rd round pick at 101, which I believe is a compensatory. Have we figured out how to pronounce
Compensatory. Compensatory.
Okay, I'm going to need a pronunciation guide on that one. With the number 101st overall pick, is that how they do it? Whatever. The Rams select Harold Fannin Jr., the tight end out of Bowling Green. Now, I know a lot of people are going to start, including good friend of the show, Jason Davis, is probably screaming at me right now. Yeah. Like, he's not going to slip that far. He might.
I think he might. He might. Yeah.
For 2 reasons. One, he was, and you see this every year. There's a prospect that gets really hot, like gets all the news of like, oh, this guy's a sleeper, but at the wrong time.
Yeah.
I think that's what happened to Fannin Jr. It's like everyone in January or February was like, oh, this Bowling Green kid, he is good. And I feel like, as you pointed out at the beginning of the episode, we're at the end of March, I haven't heard jack shit about him all month.
Yeah.
So
some of the luster has sort of started to shine away. It's like it's storytelling or whatever.
He's done badly or wrong. Like his combine measurables came in. They were, good, not great. It's just, again, like you can only talk about one guy for so long before they move on. And so I think he got hot at the wrong time. And also, let's not forget a guy that I brought up earlier this episode. That logo inside your helmet, no matter how good you are, causes people to slip. The guy, that I brought up earlier this episode, Quinyon Mitchell.
Yeah.
I asked one of our draft experts here on LAFB, why is Quinyon Mitchell falling? And he said, it's Toledo. He was like, it's because of the Toledo on the side of his helmet. So I think Bowling Green on the side of his helmet is going to cause a slip. So I think there's a very real possibility he could be a 3rd or 4th round pick. If he is there, the Rams should absolutely take him. Now, here's the thing: is Colston Loveland and Tyler Warren are more of like Brock Bauer type tight ends, where they mostly line out of the slot and they're just a giant fucking slot receiver. How do you think Wes Welker feels? If Wes Welker was like a foot taller, he would be like a 1st round pick now.
He would definitely.
But Fannin is more of a traditional tight end. But I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing in this Rams offense because McVay doesn't really utilize his tight ends like, the Chiefs do or like the Ravens do. Like he likes his pretty traditional tight ends all on the line. And that's what Fannin does really well. And then if you look at, his tape, Fannin is a crazy good athlete. The very first play of his I watched, he broke off, I'm not even joking, like a 95-yard catch for a touchdown. It was ridiculous. And he outrun everyone. And I understand it's lesser competition and stuff, but still, that's some pretty good athleticism. And Sean McVay can have a lot of fun with that. And of course, I looked at his run blocking, which is super important for a tight end in the McVay offense. Good, not great. I think this is just a very good swing to take at the end of the 3rd round.
No, I think the big thing with Harold Fannin Jr. was just that he put up amazing numbers at Bowling Green his final year. He led the nation, including the bowl game, in receptions as well as receiving yards. So, I mean, that's why there's a lot of hype surrounding this guy. But then once you go to the combine, once you go to some of these, Senior Bowl, Shrine Game, those sorts of things, like you compare yourself to other tight ends. I think just unfortunately, the other tight ends have just performed a little bit better than him. Yeah. So he definitely still has the potential. Like you said, he definitely is an inline tight end, but I've also seen Bowling Green use him as like the slot receiver. He is a little bit like a glorified receiver because his blocking skills, like you said, it's great, good, but maybe it definitely could improve. Yeah. So it's like definitely he's going to be more receiving threat early in his career, but he could develop that more. But yeah, there's a lot to like about this guy. But just, I think there's just other tight ends that's just been gaining a lot more ground during this draft season. And that's unfortunately why it led him to slide a little bit. But yeah, if the draft was literally right after the season was over, he'd probably be one of the first tight ends taken off the board.
He'd be a top 2nd round pick. And please, I hope to God you know this guy's name, because I was actually just reading an article on ESPN. Apparently, the LSU tight end, Mason Taylor.
Oh, Mason Taylor, yeah,
Mason Taylor's killing it, and I think that he hopscotch him. He'll probably be the third tight end off the board.
It could be, yeah, definitely. Mason Taylor's one to keep an eye on for sure as we get to the draft for sure. But yeah, Harold Fannin Jr., especially like I said, the versatility that Sean McVay can bring, where it's like you line up in line, or you can move him out to the outside to give Puka Nacua another weapon there. So it's like, to take some coverage off of him there. So it's like, yeah, there's some good versatility that Sean McVay can employ with Harold Fannin Jr. So yeah, to take a chance there at number 101, I think that's a very good pick there for sure. Yeah, to get a more playmaking tight end for sure.
So to recap, I had the Rams in the first round taking Azuria Thomas, the cornerback out of Florida State, at number 26. At number 90, Kyle McCord, quarterback out of Syracuse. And number 101, Harold Fannin Jr., tight end out of Bowling Green. And you know exactly what's going to happen if all three of those picks happen with you and me? Damn it!
I would hate it for sure.
That would
especially the McCord one. Especially the McCord one. But yeah, that's a pretty good, like I said, that's a great scenario. If that could pan out for the Rams, like that's just a great fit for all three.
It would be like the Eagles last year, where it's like, they're not going to get away with this, right? There's no way they get DeJean and Quinion. They just did it.
They did. So yeah, that would be a pretty good scenario for the Rams if it were to work out that way.
Now too. God damn it.
Yeah, I would hate it though. All right, Patet. Let's get to the other LA team here. Let's get to the Chargers here. So this is the team that I took on as far as the mock draft scenario here. So they're picking at 22 in the first round. They're picking at 55 in the second round. Then they're picking at 86 in the third round. So don't worry, I'll repeat those as we get closer to the picks here. But let's start with that first round. So one of the consensus things that I'm seeing with a lot of mock drafts out there from all the draft experts and lots of articles is just that they're going to draft Colston Loveland at number 22. Now, I do agree that is a position of need for them. You got the Michigan ties there with Jim Harbaugh. He loved Colston Loveland when he was coaching him at Michigan. They could use, like I said, another playmaker at the tight end position. I know they signed Tyler Conklin away from the New York Jets in the offseason. They have Will Dissly on the roster as well. So it's like you can see that as a position of need, but I don't think this is the priority need that they need to go in the first round. Now, I do think they stick around with Michigan, so they go with the Michigan products, but I think they anchor the defensive line, and they go with Kenneth Grant.
I like it.
Yeah, now there is a chance, like we're talking about with Mason Taylor and some other guys as far as draft stock rising and dropping and sort of things like that. So Kenneth Grant is sort of going in the middle of the first round. There's a lot of rumors that he may be chosen by the Arizona Cardinals at number 16. But I think there's a chance that Arizona may go in a different direction and Kenneth Grant may slip here. And if he does slip here, then this is a pick that the Chargers need to run up to the podium to draft this guy, because you look at the interior of their defensive line there. They had Morgan Fox and Poona Ford. Both were key contributors on the defensive line for their defense last year. Both are gone. No longer Chargers. Poona Ford is now playing for the other LA team. They're playing for the Los Angeles Rams, and Morgan Fox is now playing for the Atlanta Falcons in 2025. So
they have Poona and Puka?
Yes, they do. They do indeed. But yeah, so you're losing two key contributors on the interior defensive line, so you definitely need to anchor that now. So I think here you get some very good production from Kenneth Grant. Like, I know a lot of the attention goes to Mason Graham, the other defensive tackle for Michigan, but you also look at Kenneth Grant. He sort of brings sort of that, yin to the yang that Mason Graham was sort of doing. That's why Michigan was able to get such good, penetration and run stopping efforts with both of those guys on the line together. So it's like Kenneth Grant can hold his own. That's why he's going to go in the first round. Playing for Jim Harbaugh, you got the familiarity there. So it's like, I think this is really good match made in heaven. Tad, I'm pretty sure you watch more tape than I have at this point as far as the defense is concerned, but from what I can sort of gather with the tape that I've seen, just freak athlete. Like, I think there's chances where he just overwhelms the opposition with his quickness, and he's got really strong hands. So it's like, I think this is something that could definitely benefit him early in his career. I think he can be a dominant force in the run game. As far as the pass rushing, this is something he needs to develop a little bit more. Doesn't have the best pass rushing skills at this time, but it's like, if you need a run stopper, this guy can play on day one, week one, whatever it is. Like, this guy can be that sort of, anchor for a defensive line as far as the run game is concerned. So maybe he only plays the first two downs. You bring in somebody else to come in for the third down, but it's like, still, he will be able to contribute in his rookie year. Just overall, like I said, you need to anchor that interior of the defensive line. line. You re-sign Khalil back, so it's like maybe pass rush is a little bit of issue here, but it's like I think you may be able to get a good pass rusher later. Whereas like getting a familiar product in Kenneth Grant to anchor your defensive line, this would make the most sense for Jim Harbaugh's defense there, that familiarity there. And it's like I think he could be able to find success very quickly. So that's why I think they go defensive tackle instead of tight end in the first round.
You absolutely hit the nail on the head. I will give you a little preview to my Kenneth Grant scouting report.
Let's do it,
not even joking. The first bullet point. This guy has no right to be this fast at that size. It truly is incredible. Like the first 3 plays I watched, I'm like, how is that possible? That's just not fair. And for people wondering, like, well, what is his size? It's 6'4", 330.
Yeah.
This dude's a monster. Now, I am so glad you said that because a couple bullet points down displays almost zero evidence of any sort of pass rush skill.
Yeah, exactly.
Like he's literally not even like a little push him to the side. Like he doesn't even do that. He just tries to push him up, which sometimes works. And then one of my final bullet points for him is I think he has big time TFL tackle for loss potential, but I doubt he'll be able to contribute much else to the pass rush. So, but here's why I like it, and this is where I'm about to in some eyes lose a lot of credibility. When I draft guys, I don't look at any of their tape other than this previous season.
Right.
I don't do it because I don't care. Especially quarterbacks. I hate that when they're like, look at this throw he made as a freshman. Who gives it? That was fun. In terms of Cam Ward, it was like that was pre-pandemic. Like, who cares? So I only watched Kenneth Grant tape this past season. And I could see the promise, but I could see they just weren't quite utilizing him correctly. Mm-hmm. If he goes back to Harbaugh, who clearly saw something in him, hence why you recruited him, like that has the potential to unlock, Kenneth Grant potential. And I am so glad you said that about the tight end because I understand that's the popular pick. Offense is sexy. People like to see their team take an offense. You don't need a tight end that bad. Just wait. Just wait. Because, again, if Loveland or Warren are there, okay, consent. Well, if Warren's there, take him because that's a monster. But I don't know. It's just like you said with Will Dissly and Tucker Kraft, not Tucker Kraft,
Tyler Conklin.
Thank you. Why did I say Tucker Kraft?
I don't know.
I was getting my TCs mixed up.
There you go.
But Tyler Conklin, thank you. With both of them, they're serviceable for now, and then just either wait till next free agency, next draft, or whatever. So I'm so glad you had them focusing on defense because that defense got butchered this offseason.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. So I think they definitely need to address the defensive side of the ball with that first round pick. And then here, I think in the second round, this is where they address the offensive side of the ball. So it's like, obviously they got, Mike Williams, they re-signed him. They had the emergence of Lamb McConkey in his rookie year. So it's like, he was great. Quentin Johnson was able to showcase himself as well too. I said it. Quentin Johnson was able to showcase himself. Darius Davis had a few touchdowns as well.
That one catch. Yeah, that one catch.
So it's like, I think they got some pieces there, especially the way that Harbaugh likes to run his offense. I think they have enough right now. So I think that's why they need to go the first round with the tight end there. Now they can go wait to the second round. I think they get a really good prospect, a guy that you just brought up, Tad. I think they go with Mason Taylor, the tight end out of LSU here at number 55 in the second round. So, during Harbaugh's tenure, I'm going back to when he was with the San Francisco 49ers. He had a playmaker in the wide receiver position. That was Michael Crabtree. And then at the tight end position as well. That was Vernon Davis. So outside of that, though, there wasn't a lot of depth in the wide receiver position. There's a few guys that contributed, but it was mainly a lot of Crabtree in the passing game and a lot of Vernon Davis in the passing game. So I think now here, this is where, like I said, they don't need to spend a premium pick in getting Colston Loveland in the first round. I can see the value there, but it's like, I think you wait until you get to the second round to get Mason Taylor. Now, this is a guy that, Tad, I don't know if you know this, but he is the son of Hall of Famer Jason Taylor. So he's got NFL pedigree. He's also his godfather is Zach Thomas. So it's like, he's got this really strong NFL pedigree. Yeah. So this is a guy that can come into the NFL. He's got the experience. He's probably got a lot of good tools. Now, obviously, Jason Taylor played on the defensive side of the ball, so it's not a lot of direct correlation, but it's like you still see it on tape.
Now, okay, I had to interrupt because I'm not even joking. I'm not doing this for the show. I literally found out yesterday. Don't ask me why I was looking at this, but I was looking at the Rams Ring of Honor.
Yeah.
I was like, Jackie Slater, who is that? I looked him up and I was like, oh my God, this guy was fucking amazing. He played offensive tackle for 20 years.
Yeah.
And then I was scrolling through his Wikipedia. He's Matthew Slater's father.
Matthew Slater, yes. Yeah.
That's insane. This insane offensive tackle produced Like you would think another offensive attack. Nope, just one of the best special teams players to ever play in the NFL.
Arguably one of the best ones for sure. Yeah. But yeah, you look at Mason Taylor, and it's like this is a guy that I think can envelop what Jim Harbaugh wants to do on the offensive side of the ball. He's a very good run blocker as well as a pass blocker as well. I think there's still some things that he wants to refine as far as transitioning to the NFL level, but he's got a better base level as far as being a blocker compared to Colston Loveland. I think Colston Loveland is a little bit more of a receiving threat than being a serious blocking threat. So yeah, that's where Mason Taylor sort of gets a leg up here, and that's why you wait until the second round to take Mason Taylor. But Mason Taylor also displays very strong and very soft hands. So it's like this guy naturally lets the ball come into him. I was watching him at the combine. He was very good going through the gauntlet drills and doing some of the receiving drills. But then, yeah, when it came to the blocking drills as well, he was just well-rounded. I think that's a better factor for this offense where it's like they want to establish the run, but then they also need a playmaker as well. So it's like you won't take Mason Taylor off the field then when you want to pass versus when you want to run. So this guy will stay on the field all three downs, gives the defense something more to think about compared to Colston Loveland, where it's like I think you just need to wait to see more of that blocking develop for him to be more of a threat when it's like you're trying to run the ball. Whereas like Mason Taylor, I see a lot more of it. Big body, tight end. He comes in at 6'5", 251. Like this is a big dude, but he can throw his body around, but he's also got, not great speed, but he's got some good, quickness and agility that he could be a playmaker with the ball in his hands as well. You sort of saw that a little bit on the tape there at LSU. Presents a big window to the quarterback. I saw him make some great contested catches as far as 50-50 balls. Presents a very big wide open window for the quarterback. So it's like if the throws go here and there, he can sort of adjust and make some good catches there. So, but yeah, I think this is why they make the addition here in the second round to go tight end instead of the first round, is because he's got more of a well-rounded skill set coming into the NFL that you can develop in. So that's why they go with Mason Taylor in the second round as opposed to Colston Loveland in the first round there. So yeah, they address defensive tackle in the first round, then they go Mason Taylor tight end in the second round. Guessing you don't have thoughts there. So we'll move on to the third round here. So yeah, as we got defensive tackle in the first round, we got the second round, we got the tight end position here. So in the third round here at number 86, we talked about it where, they sort of had some issues with, players leaving in free agency. We talked about Morgan Fox and Puda Ford. They left in free agency to side with other teams. You also have to remember that they cut Joey Bosa, one of their premier pass rushers, and he is now playing for the Buffalo Bills in the 2025 season. So yeah, now we have a situation here where we want to anchor that pass rush here. So it's like you got to get a guy to play opposite Khalil Mack. Khalil Mack has been re-signed by the team, but it's like still he's showing his little bit of age. He's been able to be productive in his last year here in with the Los Angeles Chargers. But it's like I think you need to also think about the succession plan. So it's like you need to figure out some guys that can sort of come in and play opposite him, and then also learn from him to sort of take over that pass rushing role in his next level there. So it's like, yeah, you got this here where in the third round here, number 86 overall, I think they go with Kyle Kennard, the defensive end edge rusher out of South Carolina. Now, Tad, I don't know if you've gotten that deep in your defensive end rush yet. Okay. But yeah, I think this becomes a guy that I think can learn from Khalil Mack and really just develop under this team here. But he could also be a guy that could be an instant contributor because, yeah, based on the tape that I've been able to see here, great instincts as a pass rusher. I mean, he comes in, he's got some good counter moves to sort of keep the opposition off balance. He could get around some pass blockers. I mean, he showed at times, Tad, like just flashes of absolute brilliance when it comes to his timing, where he can sort of like counter some swipe moves by the opposing blocker. He's also very cognizant of like when he gets close to the quarterback, he goes for that chop move. So it's like, you get that throwing arm, you get those potential fumbles, maybe a strict sack, but possibly that other defenders can then jump on the ball, and now you got turnovers here. So he's not just trying to take the quarterback down, he's trying to get that ball out of the quarterback's hands if he gets a chance to get a shot on the quarterback. So yeah, that's definitely something that you want, a little bit of a turnover machine to help your defense get some turnovers and then give the offense the ball to possibly put more points on the board. At times, just excellent timing when it comes to his explosion off the line, to just really recognize when that snap is coming off, gets that extra jump on the opposition as far as the blocker, so you can sort of get him off guard there, then throw in some extra moves, get to the quarterback that much easier. I say all that though, but I think there could be a little bit more refinement as far as some of the skills that he brings to the pass rushing moves, some extra, moves that he could bring in as far as like a spin move, maybe a ghost rush move, maybe some more hand swipes, stronger hands, things like that. So it's a guy, I think he could work on his pass rushing technique a little bit further. But what I like as far as initially could come in and be a contributor for the Chargers right away. Good length as a defender, but I think you also see that with his pass rush as well, where he runs in a little upright. It's a lot easier for the offensive guard or tackle to sort of pick him up than if he's coming in upright as opposed to coming in trying to bend down. And that also prevents him from bending down as easily too to get around some swipes and blocks. Comes in at 6'4", 250. So it's like, yeah, it's a little bit of a bigger guy. So it's like, yeah, I think you just need to work on his nimbleness and his agility a little bit more to get around some more, stout offensive linemen and possibly some more nimble running backs and fullbacks in the backfield as well. But like I said, there's a lot to like. I think that's a guy that you develop, and he could be an instant contributor. But I think the skill set that he brings and the raw athleticism that he sort of has, that's something that you really like. And I think with the losses, like I said, Joey Bosa and a lot of those interior defensive linemen, this is now where you sort of re-anchor that defensive line to really get some good pressure on opposing quarterbacks they have. But I think they go Kyle Kennard, the edge rusher out of South Carolina, in the 3rd round at number 86.
And this is why you extend a guy like Khalil Mack. I know a lot of people in LA were like, why'd we keep Khalil but let Joey Bosa go?
Yeah.
This is one. I'm not saying this is the reason, but this is one of the reasons is Khalil Mack, like you said, like just pure raw athleticism. And it's just like, he doesn't know what to do with it. We don't know what to do with it.
Yeah.
Throw him out there with Khalil Mack. He'll teach him.
Exactly.
So I really like that. Unfortunately, I dropped out. Where did my Mason Taylor analysis drop?
I didn't get any of it. So
okay, yeah, that's what I figured. So let me give that real quick. So funny story is, I was making a joke a couple of weeks ago that the Colts are tanking for Arch Manning, and you texted me back going, "They're not going to get Arch. You're going to get Nussmeier." I'm like, I'm good with that. I like that actually, because there are very few players on this LSU offense I don't like. Like this is a very, very talented offense. Here's my one. So like Mason Taylor, great player, great fit with the Chargers. My only concern with this pick is, let me read to you all the tight end needy teams picking before 55.
Sure.
We got the Giants, the Titans, the Jags, the Saints, the Jets. You could argue the Cowboys, the Colts, if they don't go tight end 1st round, the Cardinals, the Dolphins, you could argue, the Seahawks, you could argue. Buccaneers are probably set.
Yeah.
And then there you go. So you have a solid 5 or 6 teams that could take, especially the Saints. Like, come on, LSU boys staying home. Like, that would be great PR too. So that is my one concern is if they want to make that move, they may have to trade up for him.
I can see that happening, but I think just outside of Warren and Colston Loveland as the first 2 picks, I think it's just very
muddled. 50 feet of crap, and then that's too harsh. But so.
So it's just like, I don't know how it's going to shake out after that. Now, I mean, obviously wait for our position rankings as we sort of drop them in the coming weeks here. But yeah, I just don't know how it's going to, other teams are going to view some of these other tight ends, because you got Elijah Arroyo out of Miami. He's gaining a lot of steam. Yeah. We talked about Harold Fannin Jr. We're talking here about Mason Taylor. There's Jake Brittingstool out of Clemson. There's Gunnar Helm out of Texas. So it's like, it sort of mixes and matches as far as like what you want from your tight end. Some are better blockers, some are better receivers. So it's like, that's where it's like, I could see Mason Taylor being here at number 55. That's why I slotted him in for the Chargers. But yeah, I totally agree with you. It's like, if another team sort of values that sort of all-around skill set, he may go before that. But like we talked about, this is sort of just one way we sort of envisioning things here for both the Rams and the Chargers. So just to really quickly recap as far as my picks here for the Chargers in the first 3 rounds. At number 22 overall, the first round, I think they go Kenneth Grant, defensive tackle out of Michigan. In the 2nd round, number 55 overall, they go with Mason Taylor, the tight end out of LSU. And then in the 3rd round, number 86 overall, they go with Kyle Kennard, the edge rusher out of South Carolina. That will play out the first 3 rounds for the Chargers as far as my scenario there. So overall, how do you feel about those first 3 picks?
First 2, love it. The 3rd one, can't really say much because, again, I haven't watched this tape yet. But positional need, like you're hitting on every positional. Nothing's worse than like, for the Colts, for instance, if if I'm watching the 1st round, they take another receiver. It's just, why? That's the one area we're good. Like, there's nothing worse as a fan than when you take something that you don't.
I've also seen some mock drafts too, Tad, where it's like for some reason Tet McMillan slides to them at number 22, and I was like,
I haven't seen the Tet McMillan tumble. Like I think it's just because people want it easy, and they're just like. So I haven't seen him in the Chargers. What I have seen a lot is him to the Seahawks now.
Yes,
like, you're just doing that because you're lazy. And like they need a wide receiver, he's a wide receiver. But like I don't think McMillan makes out of the top 20.
I don't think so either. I think a lot of people are sort of overblowing the fact that he had a slow 40 time at his pro day in Arizona or whatever. So
game tape, which don't do that.
Yeah, exactly. So it's like, but regardless, so even if he's there at number 22 for the Chargers, like, yes, he's probably one of the better wide receiver prospects in this year's draft class, but it's like, I don't think that's the way Harbaugh runs his offense. So it's like, I don't think that's the need that you need to go in the first round. If anything, this is where you can sort of leverage that, trade back, maybe get some more picks or whatever it is, and then it's like somebody else could then draft Tet McMillan number 22. So it's like I can see that happening, but like you said, it's like they got some good playmakers at the wide receiver position where it's like that is not immediate need anymore. It's like I think they got some good playmakers that they need to address other positions that I think hold higher value than the wide receiver position or the tight end position in my draft.
But what if they trade Justin Herbert to the Giants? Which is an actual thing I saw a Chargers fan say online.
That would be absolutely ludicrous if they.
I don't know why, but there's a weird
total win for the Giants. But it's like, why would the Chargers?
There's a weird subsection, or no? What was it? It was during the Dak talks with the Browns.
Sure.
Someone was like, if we trade Herbert to the Browns, then we get number 2. Then we take Shedeur. I'm like, really? Like, I don't. There's a weird subsection of Chargers fans who hate Justin Herbert and like, hey, if you don't want him, send him to Indianapolis. We will welcome him with open arms. I will build that man a statue.
Yeah, no, exactly. Just why Chargers fans don't like him for some reason, or the subset of Chargers fans that don't like him, I really just don't understand. Because this guy, when he's going, it's hard to stop this guy. He's one of the best in the league for sure.
And the hair too. Don't cut your hair again, Justin. Just keep growing it out. You look great.
All right, guys. So that's just 2 teams that we're doing playing the GM for. We're going to do a couple more as the season progresses here. We only got a handful of weeks left, unfortunately. So, I mean, guys, this is where it definitely pays for you guys to follow us on social. Tad already brought it up. We dropped our quarterback rankings, both mine and Tad's top 10 for the position. We will be going through all the other positions. So just make sure you're following us on our social media handles. Tad will be dropping all those graphics that we got for all of our position rankings there. There's our ticker down below with all of our social media handles on it. You got me at Underside23. You got Tad at TadSide94. Got the show handle at Decide Guys. And, of course, on Instagram at the Decide Guys as well. So that is where you can see all of our rankings graphics. That is where you can interact with us. Like I said, we only got a couple more weeks until the NFL draft is here. So if there's somebody that you want us to cover, if there's, a certain, prospect that you want us to cover, if there's a certain episode that you want us to do, that is where you can interact with us and let us know. It's like, hey, you guys should do this. And we will definitely take it into consideration. But the only way we know what you guys want is when you interact with us. So yeah, you can do it on social media. You can drop us some YouTube comments. If you're watching us on YouTube, make sure you subscribe wherever you listen to your podcast. You can drop some comments as there. If the platform provides it, you can drop some comments on the podcast platform as well. We will find it. We'll definitely take it in consideration as far as episodes that we could bring to you, because that's what we want to make sure to giving you the content that you want there. Please, guys, as well, we talked about it. We did the 2 LA teams first because we're part of LAFB Network. Without them, there would be no us. They're giving you a lot of great content, as mentioned, with all the draft coming up stuff, with all the stuff coming up with the draft. They're giving you a lot of great content when it comes to the Rams and the Chargers, and definitely with all the spring game and transfer portal and last-minute things there. They're giving you a lot of great content when it comes to the Bruins and the Trojans as well, with college football as well there, guys. But, Ted, it's not just football anymore. We talked about the MLB season starting this weekend. They're giving you great coverage when it comes to the Angels and the Dodgers, as well as great coverage as we get to the final couple weeks of the regular season for the NBA and then the playoffs for sure. They're giving you a lot of great coverage when it comes to the Clippers and the Lakers as well. So they're covering all the big 3 sports there, all the 3 big sports leagues for LA sports there. So a lot of great content coming from a lot of great content producers. But guys, to everybody who's already, following us on social media, interacting with us, watching our YouTube videos, subscribing to our podcast, I mean, just anything and everything that you're doing to support the podcast, guys, we cannot thank you enough.
I'm looking at the NBA West standings right now. That conference is so fucking ridiculous.
It is pretty wild. It is pretty
wild. The Timberwolves are a 7 seed, and they'd be like running away with the 2 seed in the East.
They would. They definitely would.
So let's see. We got the Clippers, and somehow the Mavericks are still in the running, but that's gonna stop. So you got the Clippers.
They're like number 10, right? They're like barely hanging on, I think.
Yeah, they're number 9 right now.
Number 9. Okay, wow.
Behind the Kings, though, like there's no way they hold on to that. Anyway, if you want more LA basketball analysis that's much better than that, be sure to check out LAFBnetwork.com, or I think it's just LAFB.com. But you know what bums me out, Amir?
What's that?
There's no USC spring game.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Lincoln Riley has officially announced 2025, no spring game. But if you want your fix on USC in terms of this team next year and the team moving forward, because I know USC and the Oregon recruiting competition really heating up there. So if you want all the latest analysis on that, the team and Lincoln Riley, just how hot is this seat, check out Salute to Troy. I had to think about that for a second. I was mixing up LA Pod. I almost said like Troy Podfidential for some reason.
Yeah, that's
so
a weird hybrid.
Salute to Troy, but good friend of the show. I'll compliment you since I screwed up the name of the show. Al Rowe, he has been doing a lot of good stuff. And he may be dropping some draft analysis later on this month. So be sure to check that out as well. And then the podcast I was thinking of, I was trying to say Salute to Troy. Be sure to check out LA Confidential. It is an exciting time for the Rams. So be sure to check that out. Hosted by very good friend and very knowledgeable listener, viewer, and talker, Chauncey Talese. So be sure to check that out. And every other podcast LAFB Network has to offer. You can find it on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and wherever else you find your podcast. So as always, everyone, thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for watching. And please stay safe.